Mets against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers winning last night in 14 innings. Right here in Los Angeles. The story is that George Bamberger has asked to be relieved of his duties as the manager of the New York Mets. And George, that's kind of a tough decision. When did you make it?
Well, I made it the last game in San Francisco, but I've been thinking about it really, Ralph. You know, it's a very strenuous job, really, and it does play heck with you. So I did not step by because of the operation of the heart and so on, which a lot of people will think that's not true. It's just that when you're losing and you're not playing as well as you anticipate, the game does eat you up. And you can say two things. You can suffer, or you can say the heck with it. And if you do that and relax, then you're taking money under false pretenses. And I just felt, well, I'm not going to let this game eat me up no more. I've been in it 38 years. I'm going to go back to Florida with my wife, do a little fishing and relax and try to stay in good health.
George Bamberger, what was your biggest disappointment for this year?
Well, we didn't play as well as I anticipated. Now, don't get me wrong when I say that. I think each and every boy gave me the best of his ability. Unfortunately, we're not hitting the ball as well as we should. If I have to say one thing is our low batting average. We're hitting 226, so our run production has been very, very poor. However, I do feel that George Foster was probably end up with 30, 35 home runs this year. Same as Dave Kingman, and I do know Darryl Strawberry's going to come through. The three big men hit the ball the way I know they can, will score runs, and I think we're going to win some games because I think it's an improved team. It just hasn't showed it to this point.
George Bamberger, I'm really sorry to see you go. Personally, I know all of us that have had anything to do with you wish you the best of luck, and we all say we're sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
George Bamberger, we'll be back in just a moment right after this message from Budweiser.
The New York Mets, Frank Howard. And Frank, you have gone from a warm, comfortable room right into the oven, and of course you realize that.
Well, Timmy, I've been in the kitchen most of my life, and I think I can stand a certain amount of heat. First of all, just let me say this. I don't think anybody in the New York Met organization wanted George to leave, at least not now. I think we all, if you want him to wait, at least get through the year and then make his decision. But apparently he felt like maybe it was time to do his thing. And certainly nobody can blame him for it. I had no idea that I was going to be named the manager of this ball club, but when Frank Cashin called me in and asked me to take it over for the rest of the season on a temporary basis, a lot of people said, well, why would you want to do that? The ball club right now is struggling, and why take it over on a temporary basis? But I'm going to tell you something. I've been in a lot of organizations, a lot of great organizations, and I've always been treated very well. But I have never been treated better in my life than I have in the year and a half I've been with the New York Mets. And I feel like I owe Frank Cashin and I owe the New York Met organization the duty or the responsibilities of whatever they ask me to do.
How temporary do you really feel this job is?
Well, I don't know, Jimmy. I'm going to wing it. I'm going to be myself. I don't have a lock on all the good baseball that's played, but I feel I'm not overwhelmed by the job. I feel like there's certain things about the ball club that we can try and find out, and I could be 100% wrong. But as far as I know this, I've been in the big leagues for 22 years. I've been in professional baseball for 25. And, Timmy, there were a lot of days where I didn't do it, and a few days where I did. But, you know, I've always been able to sleep at night, only because I know in my heart I've given everything that I can possibly give, physically, mentally, emotionally, to the game of baseball.
Straight relief appearances. His longest outing of the year has been 2.1 innings, so that might be a factor.
And if a left-hander hits this ball, Steve Sachs probably makes the play because it wouldn't go away from him as fast as it's going. That ball because of right line and just out of the...
Playing in his hometown, he's had 3 home runs. If Strawberry...
all the time. Of course, Darryl appears to be...
And odds are very much against that. And strike 3. And he had a theory that you only had to protect the start.
Until he...
And here's George Foster, and
it's the guess location.
And the ball hit down the first base side. It's foul going. And the runner going again, and the ball thrown in the center field. Brooks on the slide is now going over to third base, and he'll make it on the air. So the first chance that we have seen.
Glove effectively.
And this ball hit foul. It will drift into the stands, and runner at third. And ball 4 in the curveball.
Shaking. Dave feels all alone behind the plate.
And that's 1 ball. It has been fastballs and curveballs at first base, and of course, and Kingman
to protect Kingman here with the 1-2 count.
And it's hit hard to the third baseman Guerrero, and he boots it, and the Mets lead 1-0. Pedro Guerrero at third base and making the error. Foster moving down to second base, and Kingman on at first.
Well, this slider looks like it backed up a bit. It may have been a fastball, to tell you the truth. It looked like it was. It looked like it was a slider from up here, but whatever it was, it kept sliding or sinking.
And they got him. Ryan Giles making the tag against Dave Anderson.
Oh, right here. Ron Hodges with not a good pitch to handle. Ball low and outside. If this throws any place else but right there, it's a stolen base.
So now 2 men out. New York Mets Frank Howard replacing George Bamberger here tonight. Looking for anything but a fastball. Now this one is inside. Did he swing? They appealed to the first base umpire Lee Wire, and he said yes he did. So the strikeout ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left on base, and the score at the end of 1. The Mets 1 and the Dodgers nothing.
What part of the plate's it going to be on?
Yeah. Center field, and Oquendo continues to amaze everybody. The 19-year-old sensation now at the bat and in the field.
And he gets jammed again, but instead of trying to pull the ball, really whips that bat head through the inside part of the strike zone, kind of inside-outside. Wilson jumps. Does he have it? Yes, he does. What a play by Mookie Wilson. Taking a home run away from Greg Brock. Oh, baby.
Another reason why it's tough to play in the major leagues. The defense is fantastic, and right here, Mookie Wilson going above the fence to make a spectacular play. Oh, Mookie right back to the wall. And now look at this leap. Boy, he's got some hang time there.
Those South Carolina guys stick together. Ed Lynch going to South Carolina.
Mets situation tonight. Prior to the game in L.A., Bamberger did just that. He announced his resignation, and Coach Frank Howard takes over as the new manager of the Mets. I can tell you that Bamberger felt the Met front office was not delivering, and the signs of his departure were there as far back as spring training when he made this statement to our Don Gould, threatening the Met pitchers.
I'll tell you one thing right now. You're not going to walk 565 guys or 85 guys, whatever it may be, again this year. Because it's either you're going or I'm going. We both won't be back. That's a cinch. One of us is going to be gone.
And it is Bamberger who has gone. And remember, George is a man who has made it back from a heart ailment and is managing the team with the worst record in baseball. The Mets have won only 16 of 46. Here's the announcement of the resignation tonight in L.A.
A manager always suffers. A manager has to suffer. If a manager don't suffer, then he's not managing. And I just didn't want to suffer no more.
I've spent the last 10 days trying to convince him to hang tough and make a decision at the end of the year. I can certainly respect his opinion. I personally did not want to see George Bamberger leave the New York Mets.
And George Foster comes up with it. So Sachs hit it well, but right at the end of 2, the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
Well, he can't get much higher in the air than this. In fact, I don't believe Mookie can get any higher. He times the leap perfectly. At the apex, the ball is in the glove.
Got it coming.
Faces the brushback from Scott Sanderson. Claudel not pleased and made it clear. And is this possible? Chasing a foul ball, Dave Kingman crashes into the umpire on a foul ground ball. And
scores and the Mets lead 1-0. Dodgers second. Greg Brock, a deep shot to center field. Will it go out? No. Hubie Brooks says, stay in here, ball. He saves a home run, and the Mets cling to a 1-0 lead. They are batting now in the top of the 3rd inning. The Yankees.
51. And a good bunt by Strawberry, and Pedro Guerrero is not going to be able to throw him out.
Well, Darryl Strawberry, with only 13 hits before the bunt, one of them before this bunt base hit, crossing up the opposition and bunting against Pedro Guerrero. And you probably can do this well against Guerrero. He's had trouble throwing. In that Seattle ball game, the winning pitch was managed with San Diego.
Can't be everywhere. The ball gets in on Guerrero. he hits it well enough to get it by Hubie. If Hubie comes up with that ball, there's no play anyway because Guerrero can't.
In-time double play for the Mets. A 4-6-3 double play wipes out the infield single by Pedro Guerrero here in the 4th inning.
Even a good throw, I doubt, gets him, but Hubie is limping.
It might have happened when he crossed the bag. Had to come across the bag. Here it is. Hubie bunts it. It's sharply bunted. See Guerrero make the barehanded stab, and he flips a pretty strong throw, but it's wide of the bag. Now, as he crosses, you can't tell because you can't see his feet whether he missed taking Hubie out of the game. It looks like he is.
He is. Tucker Ashford, I would imagine, the backup third. Maybe it's just a sign of the times more than anything.
Here's a guy who's a perfect example of many aspects.
There goes Baylor. Fastball's a strike. A high throw to second, and Baylor's in there. Second stolen for his last 30 attempts. Strawberry does the job as Baylor moves to third base.
George has been hot. He's hit safe.
Let's going to get the run in, probably. Marshall has to come a long way for the ball, and he's got to go to second base as Foster drives in his 30th run of the year, and that's high for the Mets, and they lead it 2-0 here in the 6th inning.
First baseman Dave Kingman.
This ball just keeps slicing away from Marshall, as it will do off the bat of a right-handed batter. Marshall was playing Foster so deep that he just had no chance to get to the ball, and George does.
Bamberger is on board his plane to paradise en route to his serene surroundings in Florida, and the first fishing rod he can get his hands on. In case you missed it, Bambi said enough is enough, stepping down as manager of the Mets prior to last night's game in L.A., perhaps the ultimate slap of the face to a team that possesses the worst record in the major leagues. But before George climbed aboard that plane, I caught up with him on the West Coast via telephone. Question number 1, why couldn't you wait until the end of the season?
There's 2 ways to do it, Steve. One thing you can do is sit and relax and say the heck with everything, but then you're not doing your job. If you're going to manage, you're going to have to take the stress and strain, and I just didn't want to put up with it no more. And you say to yourself, at my age, is this worth it? In other words, do you want to come up with a case of ulcers? Another 4 months, I'm sure something would. Well, I'm trying to prevent that.
George cautioned Met fans not to shed any tears. Yes, there is life after baseball.
Nobody has to feel sorry for me. Tomorrow I'm flying home today. Tomorrow I'll be on the beach. I'll be out in my boat or something like that and relaxing. The only thing I can say, I know they tried and they didn't hit the ball, and I can't do nothing about it, and they can't do nothing about it.
But what about the new skipper, former San Diego manager Frank Howard?
I'm going to wing it. I'm going to be myself. I don't have a lock on all the good baseball that's played, but I feel I'm not overwhelmed by the job. I feel like there's certain things about the ball club that we can try and find out, and I could be 100% wrong.
With Bambi